Hi everybody, this is the second video in my series on running every day. And in the first one I concentrated on those runners who were new to running or had sort of returned to running after a bit of a break. In this video I'm going to talk to you if you're a more regular runner, if you want to use that term. So you run quite often, or 2 or 3 times a week, let's say. You're used to it, you've been doing it for a few months now, probably 4, 5, 6 months or upwards. So there's still a risk there in terms of whether your body is used to running in quite the same way, let's say, as someone who's even more experienced, I guess. But nonetheless, you're out there, you've got some miles in your legs and you're feeling strong because of that, and that's all good. For you, I'd say still, you've probably got a plan, or you've probably got an idea as to what sort of regularity works for you. You might have mentioned this in the first video, check that out if you haven't already. I mentioned in the first video that you very often start, or you tend to find people starting with apps like Couch to 5K, great one done by the NHS, check that out. Or they've got a simple plan, perhaps a generic plan online, or they might have a coach like myself doing it for them. And you will be following a structured pattern. There'll be a few runs a week, perhaps some cross training. Maybe you're on your bike, you're going down to the gym, swimming, cross training, whatever it is that works for you. Try not to exceed a certain amount of runs. So if you're used to doing 2 or 3 a week, that's a good number. It's quite, it's a strong number, certainly. So don't go suddenly thinking, right, okay, I'm going to go and do 7 runs a week. You'll inevitably push yourself beyond that safe 10% increase rule that you've probably already heard of. But if you haven't, that's just a guideline for runners, really. And we sort of look and we say, right, week on week, what's my increase in mileage? If that goes much beyond 10%, for some people you could get away with 12. And for certain of the runners I coach, I might increase that beyond that slightly, depending upon what outcomes they want and what I'm trying to do for them as their coach. But for most runners, and if you haven't got a coach, you're not following a plan, try and stick to 10%, no more. 10% increase in a week and a week on week. And I'll touch on, in the next video, I'll touch on why it's important to get that rest in there, and why fatigue is something that can build up even when we don't feel tired. Just thinking about fatigue, normally we might say, oh, I feel okay. I've run 4 or 5 times a week this week, Geoff, and last week, and I feel fine. What's the problem with that? And ultimately, there might not be a problem, or straight away there might not be, but fatigue can be insidious and can lead to a particularly nasty thing called overtraining. And if you haven't heard of that, there's stuff online, and I'm sure I'll do a video on that soon, but it's something to be avoided. So watch out for fatigue that you don't necessarily feel. Fatigue very often is in the muscles, it's tired muscles, or it's muscles that have had some of their fibers snapped as part of exercise. Perfectly normal process, but want to keep a watchful eye on. So hope that's useful, and watch out for my next video coming soon, I hope, when we're going to go into a little bit more detail about the sort of other things you can do to recover and to remove and sort of almost fight back against fatigue and improve your fitness as a result. And for those of you who do more runs than 2 or 3 a week, there'll be a separate video for you soon. Cheers guys, bye.